Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the show. I am your host, RBS. I go by Radio Boxing, the real radio, not the flaw one. Um, how's everybody doing tonight? How is everybody doing tonight? Shout outs to all the homies in the YouTube boxing community. We are coming to you live on the West Coast. 10:52 p.m. We are sitting at a wonderful 80 degrees Fahrenheit. The streets are a little busy tonight. So, buckle up, watch out for 12. If you need to get on that road tonight, please travel safely, ladies and gentlemen. If you are catching this on the replay, please hit that like and subscribe, man. I appreciate it. If you're stopping by, I appreciate you. Please feel free to drop a comment. I would love to add your opinions to the show. Drop a like and hit the subscribe and turn on the bell notifications and all that good stuff. Today is Wednesday afternoon. Wednesday, August 26th. We had a fight today. Many people may not have known it, but Nikita Tszyu seems to fight every 3 to 6 months. You had Nikita Tszyu versus Ben Mahoney going 12 rounds, getting a split draw. Very competitive fight. A lot of people had a problem with some of the judges' scoring. I myself believe a rematch is needed. It was just too close, too competitive of a fight. It was too much back and forth. Very hard to score the rounds. So I'm not going to blame the judges, but a lot of people had issues with the scoring of this fight, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't see it, if you have time, if you don't have any fights you want to watch, go ahead and put on the Nikita Tszyu versus Ben Mahoney. Came at a weird time. Normally we are getting fights on the weekend. We got this fight on a Wednesday. Nevertheless, I am proud of Nikita Tszyu for staying consistent. As I said, he seems to get fights every 3 to 6 months. Doesn't seem to turn down any opponent and is always ready to get back into the ring. Friday, August 28th, we have Corey Marksman versus Christian Barreto. Friday, August 28th, Corey Marksman versus Christian Barreto. Saturday, August 29th, we have Mayer versus Cameron. Shout outs to the ladies. This past Friday on the 21st, we had Amanda Serrano versus, I believe this is Lucretia Manzar. A lot of people had some criticism about that fight. Shout outs to Amanda Serrano. Shout outs to Manzar. That was a great scrap. If you missed that fight, might want to catch that as well. Very interesting to see how that fight played out. This weekend, Saturday, ladies and gentlemen, we have a major fight that you might want to be in attendance for. Moses Atalma versus Filip Hrgović, Saturday, August 29th. We have some questions that need to be answered. And Saturday, we will get those answers to those questions. Can Moses Atama get past Filip Hrgović? Can Filip pose enough of a problem to expose Moses Atama? Or will we find out that Moses Atama is really that guy? This weekend, ladies and gentlemen, Saturday, August 29th, we have Moses Atama versus Filip Hrgović. Please, you do not want to miss that fight. We also have Martinez versus Plantic, Saturday, August 29th. As well as Lauda versus Ornelas, Saturday, August 29th. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm definitely looking forward to Martinez and Lauda fighting, but one of the main questions I have about Moses Atama is this a hype job or is he the real deal? I myself am a big fan of Moses Atama. I think he has skill. I think there are some flaws that I've seen, but you have to be the type of fighter to exploit those flaws and take advantage of those flaws. There hasn't been a fighter that has been able to do that. So until that happens, I will continue to pick Moses Atama when it comes to who he is matched up against. I would like to see some improvements. I hope that this Saturday, of course, it's good for Moses Atama to get the win, but I would like to see him maybe come to the ring with some fundamental improvements. As you're getting through and getting past these opponents, you don't want to be stationary. There's going to come a time where the people want to see you up against the guy. There's going to come a time where the people want to see you up against the champion, up against the guy. And so along the way, Moses Atama, my advice to you is please do not stop improving. Do not stop learning. Do not stop improving. I think he's young. Well, I know he's young, but being that he's young, I think that he will improve. I like his attitude toward the sport. I think that he has the right attitude to be great and to be a problem in today's sport. So I'm looking forward to the Moses Atama and Filip Hrgović fight this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. The month of August has been a banger. I mean, we had Amanda Serrano, we had Littard versus Morello, we had Rolly versus Teofimo, we had Nikita Tszyu, Ben Mahoney today. If you guys were not aware of that fight, that was today. Went 12 rounds to a split decision draw. We have Corey Marksman versus Christian Barreto. We have Moreira versus Cameron. Shout outs to the ladies. We have Moses Atama versus Hrgović. Martinez versus Plantic, and Lauda versus Ornelas. So it seems like we are squeezing out a couple of more fights this August. Seems like we're going to be closing August out with an explosion, ladies and gentlemen. Again, just recapping the events of August 22nd. Congratulations to Teofimo Lopez for squeaking out a victory. While I want to congratulate Tio, I think that if you're going to go down the path of undisputed, if you're going to go down the path of collecting the belts at 147, I believe you're going to need to add some trainers to the camp. I saw some things that were fundamentally wrong in the Shakur fight still happening in the Rolly fight. And Rolly Romero should not be repeatedly catching you and timing you with left hooks throughout the fight, you know, being that you're a 3-division champion. So I think Tio needs to take this win. I think he needs to look at his performances and realize that he's been a little stagnant for the past few years. Maybe he needs to add a new trainer to his camp. I would like to see Teofimo with some fundamentals. I think he's a very gifted fighter outside of the clown behavior and the hurtful things that he says. I think he's a talented fighter. But when it comes to moving up and going after these bigger names, unfortunately, I don't see Tio cracking the top 5 unless he really corrects and drills some fundamentals into his style. But nevertheless, congratulations to Tio. He's also having a newborn baby. So congratulations to him and his family. Congratulations to Senior. It seems like the whole "we gotta hit him, bro" seems like that's just a thing that Senior says. He said that in the Shakur fight, and I heard him say it in the Rolly fight, and then afterwards I heard somebody put a video together, and I was cracking up, dying laughing. I'm like, man, he sure did say that shit again, because I know I heard it again. But regardless, shout outs to Tio Senior. Shout outs to Teofimo Lopez. This past week, we had some words with James Toney and Shakur Stevenson. And we got to understand when covering and kind of examining people's answers that come from different eras, you got to understand that the era thing is a real, it's like a barrier, but it's a real thing. We have fighters that come from a different era, and with each era, the style of boxing evolves. With each era, the style of boxing advances. The same techniques, the same training methods, the same old school methods work. But the reality is, boxing has grown to a sport today where we have a great sample size of an example of what happens when a fighter takes too much punishment. We had the early days of boxing where the technique, the style, the actual art of boxing had only been explored for maybe 5 to 10 years. When we're talking about the 40s and the 50s. I mean, boxing has always been around. But when you're talking about actually putting it into the gym and training, I mean, we can go to the 1880s, 1890s. I'm not really sure. I'm really spitballing. But my point is that as time advanced, the knowledge of the sport advanced. CTE was not a widely known medical condition back in 1890, 1910, 1920, 1930, in the Jack Johnson days, 1940, 50. CTE wasn't a widely known medical condition. When you look at a boxer's career that spans 20 years or longer, 15 years or longer, you have a great sample size to look at. So my point is, people are following me, and if you are, shout outs, hit the like button and subscribe. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. My point is, during the eras that we had, passing through time, we had different fighters. And different fighters fought according to the standards of that era. So when you go to the 70s and the 80s, while we had medical advancements, Muhammad Ali was still fighting. When you're talking about the 70s, I mean, he should have retired. There are visible signs. The 70s and the 80s and the 90s were sort of the first times where we started seeing fighters like Muhammad Ali suffering from taking too much punishment, fighting too long, taking too many blows to the head. Ali's problem wasn't that he wasn't defensive. That wasn't his problem at all. He was a defensive master. Ali's problem was he fought one too many fights, took too much punishment. Again, my whole reason for framing it like this is through the years, through the decades, the sport of boxing got smarter, and we realized that while the brawl, the bleed all over the ring, the killing ourselves in the ring made good for entertainment in the 80s and 90s. They made, the Thriller in Manila. They gave fans unforgettable nights. The reality was, for the fighter, it wasn't safe. We heard reports about George Foreman after the Thriller in Manila fight passed out in the locker room. I mean, these things happen all the time. But today, in 2026, you have a lot more emphasis on safety. You have a lot more emphasis on preserving the fighter. Whereas going back to the 80s and the 90s, sports science, sports medicine, the concern for the fighter was very minimal. You have fighters maybe signing up, doing deals with the mafia, fighting for $1,500, being stepping stones for their guy to lose. It was all types of things that happened. So I say all that to go back to the James Toney and Shakur Stevenson situation. These guys are coming from two different eras where we had a different level of sports science, a different level of understanding. When you listen to James Toney from when he first started as a young kid, sharp, bright, you're able to clearly understand what he's saying and so on and so forth. And then as we get to, fast forward 2025, 2026, it's hard for him to make out a sentence. So while he criticizes not just Shakur Stevenson, he criticizes a lot of fighters, and a lot of fighters from past eras criticize fighters from today. The difference is there is now more emphasis and skill placed on defense. I do believe that James Toney, the style that James Toney has is a style that Shakur Stevenson uses. Shakur is great with the Philly shell. James Toney was a legend with the Philly shell in the pocket. A lot of James Toney's damage to his brain didn't necessarily come on fight night. A lot of damage from James Toney came during sparring. because of how rough he sparred, because of the way that he sparred, and that's all right. Again, my point is we can't criticize fighters today versus fighters from different eras and compare them, because there's a difference in sports science. There's a difference in concern for the fighter. There's a complete difference in that. These days, the fighter is the star. The fighter is the bag. You have fighters like Shakur Stevenson. It's imperative to keep fighters like Shakur Stevenson, Jerron Boots Ennis, Devin Haney, Abdullah Mason, Bam, Kermel Moton. It's imperative to keep these fighters sharp. Boxing today is probably a bigger business monetary-wise than it ever was, as far as brand deals, as far as, all sorts of things, streaming and all these sorts of things. We want the fighter to win. But it's also about, can the fighter push my brand? We want you to be coherent enough to push my brand. We want you to be sharp enough to rock these clothes if we want to endorse you with this outfit and things of this nature. And whereas in the 80s and 90s, these fighters didn't have that. And of course, they paved the way for fighters for today. So I'm saying this with all due respect, but I think it's a little bit unfair to criticize for fighters from yesterday to criticize fighters of today, because it's a completely different world. It's a completely different landscape as far as what the fighters are getting paid, the opportunities that the fighters have. It's completely different. And just wanted to kind of jump on that for a second, because I don't think I really talked about that, but I think that's a point that needs to be made. I think the opinions are welcome. I think you can always take those opinions and apply them to yourself, and it makes you a better fighter at the end of the day. I mean, it's like your uncle telling you something you probably don't want to hear or some shit, but it's like maybe 5, 10, 20% of that shit might make you a better person. You can apply it, and then the rest of the shit you be like, man, I'm tripping. He don't know what he's talking about. Like, who knows? I do wish that we could have a better discourse from fighters from yesterday and fighters from today. I wish we could kind of get along more. I like seeing fighters like Floyd Mayweather in the gym with Shakur Stevenson. There was some footage that dropped today where you have Floyd training with Shakur Stevenson, keeping him sharp, getting him ready. I think everybody knows what that means. That means the next person who jumps in the ring with Shakur is in trouble. So, I mean, we can have the hate train and we can make the jokes, and it's fun. I don't really have a problem with the jokes because it's just boxing talk at the end of the day. The things that I care about and I pay attention to is what happens in the ring. That's why I think I can rock with a lot of different content creators and not really have an issue. Like, I rock with different creators that have all sorts of opinions, and we don't agree or have the same opinions. I think as a man, it's important for you to not have the same opinions as the next man. That's called not being a dick rider. I'm saying you don't want to always agree with somebody else. It's cool to have difference of opinions, but then it's also cool to be able to coexist in the same room. Just because you don't agree with the one person doesn't mean that you can't rock with them, or what I mean. Like, when it comes to content creators, I rock with all the content creators that respect me. I respect them. They respect me. There are some content creators that are weird, and they don't want to shout me out. They don't want to act like they probably don't rock with me because of my takes or because of who I support. I don't really care. You know what I'm saying? End of the day, I rock with the people that rock with me, and I appreciate everybody. And we don't have to have the same opinions. We don't have to like the same fighters. People want to crash out over like stupid shit, and it's like, bro, this is just boxing. Like, the conversation, the gumbo pot, the conversation is good when we all have different opinions and different takes. When you can sit back and listen to his take and not getting your feelings about that, or sit back and listen to their take and not getting your feelings about that, bro, that say something about you, you know? And so, you know, that's just kind of where I stand. That's kind of like how I rock, how I move. But as far as James Toney, though, he said, what has he done? Wrong era. If he did it in my era, it'd be impressive. If you want to be top dog, fight the best fighters out there. Shakur Stevenson says, impressive, huh, Sir James? Nah, I'm glad I wasn't in your era, big homie. I get to create my own legacy. You were a great fighter back in the day, killer, as I am in my era. And I'm gonna be honest, I think the disconnect right there, you know, all jokes aside, all bullshit aside, I think the disconnect right there is just the fact that right now, Shakur Stevenson is one of the great fighters that we got today. We got Shakur, we got Devin Haney, we got Jaron Busenis. I mean, come on, we got Abdullah Mason. We got, like, hate it or love it, right? All these different narratives and things like that. Let's just put that to the side for a second and just talk about skill in boxing. These are the guys. So I think, you know, the facts of the matter is James Toney is talking to one of the guys today. He's talking to one of the guys. Like, time is time, you know, and we all have our time. And then sometimes we got to sit back and allow the new dogs to have their time too. You know, we can't hate. We can't get to a certain, you know, I'm still great. I'm still young. But you can't get to OG level and then want to hate on the niggas that's still trying to do it, that's still trying to get it done, and, you know, that's able to do it. You can't do that. You can't hate on people like that. You got to sit back. You got to support them. So salute to James Toney, man. You know, it's all fun. You know, it's all good. You know, I don't really take it, you know, too serious. You know, there's a lot of people that we're talking about Claressa Shields, man. There's been a lot of little stuff going on with her after her recent victory. A lot of little mess going on with that. But salute to Claressa Shields, because she's going to keep, you know, dominating and doing her thing, you know. Shout outs to Amanda Serrano. She got the victory Friday. Salute to her. Also, ladies and gentlemen, we had a few tragic events that happened. Yo, Jeff Walters 86. What's up, brother? I appreciate your question. I will gladly answer. I think the thing that makes Shakur Stevenson a great fighter is just his IQ, bro. I think his IQ, I think we can make the case that, like, oh, all right, maybe he hasn't fought the fighters that'll give him, like, that test. But I think his IQ, I think the way that he trains, when you look at his performances and the way that he neutralizes and overtakes his opponents, I mean, one can attribute that to, like, you know, different things, but I think I would attribute that to skill. I think he has a skill in being able to neutralize their opponent's best attribute. He's a great body puncher. He's great at managing distance, and, you know, I think those are the things that really make him hard to beat, you know what I mean? I don't want to, like, glaze too much, because I feel like I could go and kind of list a lot of reasons, but it's just a couple of things. Like, I think he's just an all-around sharp fighter. You know what I mean? Kind of like a, you know, like I would say kind of like a Devin Haney or Jaron Boots. And it's, you know, I would say these guys are top dog, but they're just elite for different reasons, you know? But there was some some sad developments that happened. Devin Haney's mother. We want to send prayers to Devin Haney's mother and his family. His mother, his beloved mother, has passed away the other day. And so here on the RBS show, we want to just send prayers out to the family, prayers out to him. Very sad. I'm very, very sad. All jokes aside, you know, I think that discussing, you know, Devin Haney's career is one thing. Discussing the moves that, you know, they do is one thing. But then when you look at everything in hindsight, these guys are just trying to be the best. These guys are just trying to fight their way to the top however they see fit. In a lot of ways, a lot of things that they do might not be the, you know, it might rub a lot of people the wrong way, you know. But at the end of the day, these guys are still human, man. Like, we all got a mom, we all got a dad. And so, you know, let's just give the Haney some space. Let's give them some space. They've been through a lot. And I'm sure, and they've already had a rough year trying to get fights. So while they've been trying to make it seem like everybody's been ducking them, I think the reality is they've been having a tough time trying to lock in a fight. And then having this news right here is going to kind of, you know, I hope it doesn't shake Devin Haney up too much, but I can imagine losing your mom will affect you. I mean, I know some people that have lost their parents and they don't ever get over it. So I'm not putting Devin Haney up in any hypothetical fights. I hope he takes as much time as he needs to get himself back together so he can come back to the ring 100%. Because all bullshit aside, I might not be a super Devin Haney fan, but I fuck with Devin Haney for sure. I think he's a great fighter, and I think the shit he's done in his career is one that needs to be noted and can put him up there Hall of Fame potential. You know what I'm saying? You know, just keep going, Devin Haney. Keep fighting these top guys. Keep getting some more wins. And when it's all said and done, shit, you could most likely be up in there. You know what I'm saying? I would take you, Shakur, you know what I mean? Jerron, I could see you boys jumping in that Hall of Fame. You know, so again, prayers up to Devin Haney and his family, the whole Haney team. And also prayers up to Zolani Tete passing away on Saturday. Words from Anyway, saying, I hope for a peaceful world. He was a wonderful boxer. May he rest in peace. RBS, do you think Shakur had a better career than Daniel Dubois? No. I don't think Shakur Stevenson right now has had a better career than Daniel Dubois. Why? Because I will say, I would say first, I think it's hard to compare those two. But just off the top, I would say so far, no. Their careers are not finished. So I think it's kind of hard to answer that question. But I think Daniel Dubois, because the heavyweight division has a lot more, you know, it's a lot more heat up in the heavyweight division. That's why I said I don't think it's kind of hard to compare those two fighters, being that their weight classes are so vastly different. Like the smoke that's available for Daniel Dubois versus the smoke that's realistically available for Shakur Stevenson, being that he started at 126. For me, it's kind of hard to It's kind of hard to compare. But given what smoke is available, I would give it to Daniel Dubois, especially over this win with Fabio Worley. Yeah, I would give it to Daniel Dubois right now, only because of the amount of names that's available to Daniel Dubois. That's it. I don't think there are too many, like a lot of the names that Shakur Stevenson could have fought, they moved up and is getting ready to move up to 154. So I think, we can say like Shakur Stevenson is one of the best fighters in the world, not the best, because you still have fighters like Jaron Ennis, who just got to 154, has been on a steady rise as far as moving through the weight classes, and is making more of an impact in the weight classes that have a little bit more smoke. So, no, I don't think Shakur Stevenson has a better career than Daniel Dubois as far as like, again, the criteria that I listed. Now, do I think he's a more skilled fighter than Daniel Dubois? That's a whole nother question. Like, do I think he beats his opponents better than Daniel Dubois? That's a whole nother question. But for what you're asking me, no. No, I don't. But yeah, guys, a lot of things going on in the sport of boxing, man. We're just here kicking it. Josh Kelly, speaking of Jaron Boots Ennis, Josh Kelly and Boots Ennis are in advanced negotiations for a unification in November or December, according to Chris Mannix. I am looking forward to that fight. If we can get a Josh Kelly and Boots Ennis unification, that'll be nice. Not looking past Josh Kelly at all, but I do believe that while it might prove to be a difficult fight, because Josh Kelly is a crafty fighter, a difficult fighter. I wouldn't say like super difficult, but like tricky. I would say tricky. And he's difficult if you're not on his A game, because he's not going to stand in front of you. He's going to move around. He's going to box and move. But I believe Jaron Ennis can get him out of there. I don't think Josh Kelly is ready for the pressure and the brawling fighting style. I think Josh Kelly is a better lateral movement, pot shot type of a fighter. But it's yet to be seen. I'm not mad at the fight. I salute Josh Kelly for not turning down any smoke. Just coming out of a bloody, dirty fight. I forgot who he just fought, but the guy was headbutting him all over the ring. Jay Will, my brother, what is up, man? I appreciate you for tapping into the show, dog. What's up, man? Hey, look, shout out to all my third shift people. Shout out to the graveyard shift, man. If y'all catching this at work, on the way to work or whatever like that, I hope I can make this a little exciting for y'all, man. Shout outs to the grave shift, third shift, man. You got Moses in 6 rounds. Hey, listen, man. Listen, I got some questions. We got some questions for Moses Itama. I'm hoping that, see, with every fight, I like to just pose questions, because until that fighter arrives at that spot, like, I know there are some things Moses needs to work on, but there hasn't been a fighter that's been able to exploit those things. So my question is, can Filip Hrgović exploit those things? Just Do Boxing, the motherfucking guy. What is up, my dog? What's up, Just Do Boxing? Y'all definitely make sure y'all subscribe to my dog, man. Real general in the YouTube boxing community, man. Shout outs to my dog. What up, bro? We just going over different little updates and different things in the boxing space, man. I'm not gonna be here for too long. I think Moses' hand speed will be the X factor. I think so too, because something is telling me that Philip Hergovich is gonna be in there looking like Zurdo Ramirez. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Just Do is always cooking. He was cooking today too. He was cooking today. If y'all haven't checked it out, y'all go hit that replay gang on Just Do Last Live. He was cooking today too. I think that, yeah, his hand speed will be a factor. I think so too. I think the hand speed and the power, because he'll be able to catch Philip Hergovich with some shots that he probably is not, accustomed to taking. I don't remember when was the last time Philip Hergovich was in the ring. But I am definitely looking forward to that fight. Absolutely. Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen. Quick question. Now that Teofimo has gotten past Rolly, actually, two questions. Was the Teofimo versus Rolly Romero, was that a master class? And number two, do you see Teofimo beating any of the top guys at 47? I have some suggestions that I think can help Teo. I think if Teo adds another trainer, I saw him in there with Floyd a few weeks ago, so I think this trainer thing that people keep throwing out, including myself, is probably just a lazy, I would say, explanation. But I think that if Teo can get with the trainer and actually listen and actually follow the instructions, because when Floyd is with you, when he's training, if he's not on the pads with you, I believe it might be a different type of instruction. It might be a motivational type of instruction versus someone really breaking down fundamentals. I think Teo's biggest issue is fundamentals. J Wood 38 says, not a master class, but I thought Teo won 8-4. I think Teo can beat Paro. I agree. I totally agree with that. Jeff Walters 86 says it was an ugly win. I agree with that. It was definitely a win. Salute to that. Shout outs to Teo, but I saw Rolly Romero catching him with check left hooks all night. Like, I wrote it down. I was like watching. I watched the fight like 3 or 4 times, and I was just kind of like, wow, some of the same issues that I saw with Shakur Stevenson, I saw with Rolly. Just Do Boxing says, no master class. In my opinion, he struggles with the top guys at 147. Yeah, I agree, bro. I think he has all the tools, though. This is it's strange. Teo is such a strange, it's like a strange anomaly for me, because like he has all the tools to be great. I'll see training in, certain clips where he's training with kids, and he's kind of blocking punches, and he's throwing up his glove and blocking punches. That's not necessarily the correct way to block punches. And I'm like, that's my biggest problem. That's the problem. Like, that should have worked when you're playing around with the kid in the gym. But when you step in the ring against somebody that's swatting like Romero, that's not going to work. I think Teo has all the fundamentals, I think he has all the attributes to be great, but I think he lacks the fundamentals to really beat those top guys as well. I think he can do it, though. I was very surprised at how Shakur Stevenson dismantled Tio. Again, seeing how he came off the Arnold Barboza performance. This is what I'm saying. Like, Tio's not a bad fighter. I think just like any other fighter, if you can take away their best attribute, you can make a fighter look normal. For instance, what's Devin Haney's best attribute? The jab. If you take Devin Haney's jab away, you might make him look like a totally different fighter. What's Teofimo's best attribute? Counterpunching. If you can take that away, you can make him look normal. And I think the thing with Tio is he just like, once that plan A goes out, the confusion look on his face is just kind of crazy. But I'm not going to count him out. He's a 3-division world champion. But I just see some things that I'm like, I want Tio to work on these things. I don't want him to just be food for somebody else. You know what I'm saying? I want Tio to work on these things. I don't think he can beat Devin, but I think he can be 50-50 with Ryan and Brian Norman Jr. Shout out to Jeff Walters 86. You know what, though? Let me think about that. I think Ryan Garcia, Jeff Walters, might give him a big problem. The reason why I say Ryan Garcia might give him a problem, Jeff, is because Rolly was catching him with left hooks all night. And Rolly is a bigger, of course he might be stronger, but he's a bigger, slower fighter when we're comparing it to Ryan. And I think if Rolly can repeatedly time Tio, I mean, if he wasn't catching him with the check left hook, he was timing him to where he was able to cuff him behind his neck and spin him. I think that Ryan would possibly hurt Teofimo. Now, Brian Norman Jr., I could see Teofimo possibly doing some work with Brian Norman Jr. He would have to be careful and stay away from the power. But I do see a scenario in which if Tio can tighten up and clean up a couple of things, I do see him being able to do something with Brian Norman Jr., although that's a very tough task. I would give it to Tio solely based off of experience. He said, I don't see Tio beating the Hitchens, Keyshawn, Devin of the world. I take Catterall to beat Tio today. Damn, I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I need to see when the last time Jack Catterall fought. See, the thing with Tio is he's able to rise to the occasion. Like each fight and each opponent that he's in the ring with, he's able to really rise to that occasion. Now, whether he's able to perform and pull off the win is another story. But we've seen Tio get up for different opponents. So I don't know. I don't know. He's known to have a performance where he looks terrible, and then his very next performance he looks stellar. So Tio is one of those wild cards. You know what I mean? Just Do Boxing says he struggles with discipline and consistency and following a game plan for 12 rounds. I definitely agree with that. I think like his corner, man. I mean, it's good to have like your father to be your trainer, but I think sometimes your father and your family can only take you so far when it comes to boxing. Sometimes you really do need, you don't have to sack them, but you really do need to redo your training camp. And I think Tio is a victim of just that. I think, me personally, I think he's been a little stagnant for the past year or 2 years as far as his style and the way that he fights. I haven't really seen him gotten Like, I haven't really seen him get too much better. You know, I thought that after the Shakur fight that he would have, I think honestly he looked better during the Shakur fight than he did in the Rolly Romero fight. That might be a hot take. People might have a problem with that. It's all good. I think he looked a little bit better during the Shakur fight than the Romero fight. I don't know if it was the friendship thing. That again, that whole fight was strange. You know, you had Rolly Romero that would be repeatedly catching Tio and just stand there. He would never go on for the kill. The only time you really saw Rolly step was in the 5th round. I'm gonna be honest, I thought that the ref maybe should have called that a knockdown. Another hot take. I don't know. I'm gonna leave that alone though, because I'm happy for T.O. Salute to him and his newborn baby. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to him. So I'm not gonna harp on it. I'm not gonna take it away. But it was just a very strange fight. Very strange. And at times I'm watching it and I'm like, Rolly, go, step on the gas, go. You got him hurt. And Rolly would just stand there. And again, he alluded to some comments in the post-fight press conference where he said, a lot of boxers do the same thing that I did. And y'all praise them. Well, I got news for you, Rolly Romero. You're not a boxer. Like, you're not Shakur. You're not a Devin Haney. You need to step. The difference between you and fighters like Shakur, Devin Haney, they have output with their style. They might only use jabs, but they're tearing you up with jabs the whole fight, and you're not landing punches. You can't be half of a boxer, but then lack the ability to have great defense, Rolly. That was the wrong strategy, Rolly Romero, and I picked you. Shakur Stevenson is my guy, but I picked Rolly based off of what I saw with the Ryan fight. I thought it was very impressive that Rolly Romero took away Ryan's best attribute, knocked him down and beat him, and had Ryan's hands in his pockets the whole fight. I thought it was impressive. I thought it was very impressive, the maturity that I saw from Rolly. The only thing I needed was for him to step on the damn gas, and he didn't do that. So I don't agree with Rolly Romero being upset. Okay, go chill out, bruh. Okay, you my dog, but go chill. All right, it's all cool. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Just Do Boxing says Jack Catterall beat Shakram Gearsov back in May by unanimous decision. Oh, okay. See, I don't even remember that fight, brother. I am definitely gonna have to rewatch that. I think I remember seeing it, but I don't remember how it went. Like, as far as how he looked, I'm gonna have to rewatch it. Oh, yes, sir, ladies and gentlemen. Again, shout outs to Nikita Tszyu and Ben Mahoney. They fought today. 12 rounds, went to a split decision draw. A lot of fans were a little upset. It was a very competitive fight, very back and forth fight. Very hard for the judges to score. You see, and that's what I was saying too. It looked, Jay Will, it looked like in certain parts, it was a very back and forth fight, because it looked like in certain parts of the rounds, Mahoney was getting off, and it was like Nikita Tszyu is walking forward, and he's kind of trying to walk him down, but Mahoney was boxing off the back foot. doing well, kind of pot shotting and making a miss. It was too close. It was really close, Jay. It was one of those things. It was one of those fights that was really ugly to score. He says, I don't see how Nikita is ranked 5th in multiple sanctioning bodies. Hey, I think the reason why, Jay Will, is because this dude is in a fight every 6 months. Like, for real, like, this dude be fighting every 3 to 6 months, bro. I think that's just the main reason. He's just ranked high off of sheer activity. Like, when you got a lot of fighters might be fighting once or twice a year, I think he's fighting 3 or 4 times a year. You know what I mean? Because he's one of the guys I constantly see in the headlines when it comes to having an upcoming fight. So I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think that's why he might be ranked so high, just off of how many times that nigga be fighting per year. Good domestic level talent, but I just personally don't see world level. Me neither. I don't see world level at all. And I think that's kind of the problem when you have certain fighters like him, not to take nothing away, but I think that's kind of the issue when you have like fighters that are kind of like, I would say, like, they're always fighting, but you see like their levels remaining stagnant. Like, they're tough, they're durable, but they never quite ascend to that world level. That's, I think, when you start having the gatekeeper conversation. That's when I think you start having the journeyman conversation. You know what I mean? And I hate to put people like that in that category, but that's when you start having those conversations, the step up fighter conversation. You know what I'm saying? So, but again, not to take anything away from Nikita Tszyu, like, shout outs to him. Again, like you just said, he's ranked number 5 in some of these sanctioning bodies. So obviously he's doing something right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, a lot of things going on. Hey, shouts out to Just Do Boxing, man. He just dropped a video. Scrolling down on the timeline, man, talking about Ryan Garcia and Teofimo. Yeah, listen. I got Ryan Garcia crushing Teofimo in devastating fashion. Speaking of Ryan Garcia, salute to Ryan, trying to get back on the path to maybe regaining some of the people's trust. Fight Hype just dropped a video showing him getting tested by VADA. Gotta bring a big old piss sample in there. He bringing it to the dude, and they got all their lab equipment. It seemed like VADA pull up wherever you at, wherever you go, VADA goes. Hey, wherever you gonna be at, we gonna be at. You feel me? So, hey, salute to that. Salute to not ducking the testing, and hopefully over time people can accept, bro. Unfortunately, he did it to himself. You gotta watch what you put into your system. If you got people in your camp bringing you these things and these supplements, it's up to you. However these things get into your body, sir, it's up to you to make sure that you are a clean fighter. You know what I'm saying? So on that note, I can't really vouch for you too much, but I'm glad to see you willingly test. I like clean boxing. I want fighters to be clean. I don't like fighters that cheat. I don't like fighters that use PEDs. If you're caught with PEDs in your system as a fighter and they don't ban you, like if they don't ban you completely from the sport and they allow you to come back, I think you have an obligation to prove and to show each and every time that you're getting tested. I think you have an obligation to prove and show that you are willing to participate in boxing and be a clean fighter. I think you have that obligation to be open and transparent about that. So, Ryan brought that on himself. But salute to him for not running from VADA, taking the testing, and, at least trying to make it right now. So, other than that, best of luck to you in rebuilding your career. He's been doing good. Beat Mario Barrios. Got a fight with Conor Benn coming up. I'm hoping that Ryan can lock in. Hope he's locked in, and I hope he, can pull it off. Conor Benn is not the person to play with, not the person to go on there and joke around with, but I believe Ryan can do it. J Wood 38 says, if Ryan KO Ben, I will buy the hype back some, but just beating a Barrios who arguably lost to a 46-year-old Pacquiao who was 4 years inactive isn't enough yet. Hey, I agree. The only thing I give Ryan credit for in that fight, well, I give him credit for the win, but I give him credit because of him fighting clean. That's just it. Me personally, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think Ryan ever took PEDs. I don't think Ryan is like a person that juices, but I believe that VADA is telling the truth when they say that he had him in his system. So I think there's like a little, conundrum. I don't believe Ryan is a cheater and he tests and he takes PEDs. He been knocking shit out. But I do believe the VADA test. I don't think VADA would be lying. So somehow they got in this system. And all I'm saying is, as a fighter, as somebody that is like in charge of their brand, it's up to you to make sure that you keep track of those things and you are tying loose ends. You know what I'm saying? Hey, and that is very true. Ryan is very consistent, and that's why I think a lot of people have that same opinion. You don't really know, or up to a certain point, you didn't really know what kind of Ryan you was getting. But I think, I think it's safe to say we're getting a locked in, focused Ryan. I think Ryan getting and winning that belt, I think that made him want to take his career more serious. Ryan has been inconsistent for a fight. He was inconsistent with the Devin Haney fight, but I don't remember him ever being inconsistent before. His mother had breast cancer at the time. So I think a lot of these things, like when we're, talking about the Devin Haneys and people's mother and things, we got to start really listening to what they were saying when they were going through these different things. But I don't want to harp on that. That's old news. But I think after winning this belt, I think he's shown he's trying to mature. He's trying to prove to the people that he's not a dirty fighter. Imagine that. Imagine you being a fighter, you knock shit out, and people think you a cheating ass motherfucker. That's something that he has to deal with. You know what I mean? So I think after winning that belt, I think Ryan realized about how important his brand was. And I kind of see the same locked in dude that I saw during the Barrios fight for the Conor Benn fight. So hopefully he goes out there and gets the W, because that's another narrative that's out there, that he's inconsistent. And I'm not saying that that's a wrong or right narrative. I'm saying that's just what people are saying. People are saying that this nigga's a cheater. You know what I'm saying? Hey, that's your fault for letting them things come into your system, bro. Again, as I said, I don't think you are a cheater. but you got to tighten your team up. I remember around that time, Ryan was hanging around a lot of people from New York. He was hanging around this dude. He was like a big, tall dude. They was rapping and doing shit together. I remember, I forgot what his name was. He was hanging out with a lot of people. You know, he had some people breaking his crib, you know, during that time. There was a lot of weird shit that was going on, man. You know, you got to, you know, make sure that security is on point, you know. A lot of things got to be on point, you know. Jeff Walters 86 says you can't get banned from boxing. Hey, you should be able to. If you can't get banned from boxing for life, you should. I mean, I think a sanctioning body has the ability to vote and ban you for life. But, you know, I'll say you win this one because I don't know. I don't know if I've seen any fighters ever been banned from boxing for life. You know what I'm saying? But should they? Should some fighters be banned for life? You know, should some fighters go on a long ban where they got to appeal? You know what I mean? I mean, this is a sport where people can die in the ring. Jeff Walter says you can get banned in the USA and fight in Europe. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that's true. That's 100% true. That's 100% true though, bro. You 100% right. J Will 38 says, I remember in UFC they banned Nick Diaz for like 5 years all over weed. I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. And see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, so, I mean, and of course we're talking about UFC, but hey, you know, and I'm not advocating for somebody to just not make no money or whatever, but I'm just posing a question, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, guys, hit the like and subscribe button, man, if y'all digging the content, man. We just talking boxing, man. Shout outs to the third shift. Shout outs to my graveyard workers, man. Shout outs to my people that can't sleep, the ones that just be up, because I just be up. Radio, we have such a low bar for Ryan. Haha. Just come in on weight, no steroids, and not drunk. Hey, you know what's crazy though? Look, unfortunately, bro, that's the boat he put himself in. You know? We didn't put Ryan in that. You know what I mean? Like, the antics and things that he did during the Devin Haney lead up, he fooled a lot of people. Like, a lot of people was fooled, you know, and maybe he was going through a lot of that shit. We don't know. You know, maybe he was really drinking. Some people said it was apple juice and apple cider and shit. Bro, who fucking knows? But all that shit that he did, it didn't help him. I'll say that. All the shit that Ryan did, it didn't help him. Missing weight, drinking, all the antics that he did, it didn't help him. As a matter of fact, it kind of hurt him. You know what I mean? So it's up to him now to turn all that around. It's up to him now to kind of, you know what I mean? Like, he got to make those rights. He got to make those wrongs rights. You know what I mean? But that is very true, though. Like, the bar is so low. Like, just like Ryan, just be professional, please. Just be professional, please, Ryan. It is funny. He said, I think Ali got banned the longest over the draft stuff. Yeah. And I'm trying to figure out how long was that. Let me see. Hold on, y'all. Who was banned the longest? Because I'm very curious about that. Yep, J Will 38. You are 100% correct, bro. Muhammad Ali received one of the most famous and longest high-profile enforced exiles in professional boxing history, being banned and stripped of his license for over 3.5 years. That's crazy. Yeah. Insane, ladies and gentlemen. From 1967 to 1970. That is fucking crazy. Yeah. Also, ladies and gentlemen, wanted to also say rest in peace to Pritchard Colon, the fighter who passed away after being repeatedly hit behind the head about 10 or 15 years ago, I believe, facing a fighter named Terrell Williams. That was Pritchard Colon's last fight. Went into the locker room, threw up, and collapsed. Woke up, I believe, 280 some odd days later out of a coma in a vegetative state, very bad state. So he just passed about a week or two ago. Again, we just wanted to say rest in peace to him. Rest in peace to Devin Haney's mother. And also rest in peace to Lazani TT. Or excuse me, Zulani Tete, excuse me, if I am pronouncing that wrong. Rest in peace to those fighters. Jeff Walters says Ali is lucky he did not have to face jail time. Hey, honestly though, I'm gonna be honest. Back in those times, ducking the draft, man, please. Yeah, Dolly Parton passed away. Yep. Rest in peace to Dolly Parton. Oh, Lord, that was very sad because I saw a few days ago where she had canceled a couple of her shows, and they had put it on like ABC News or something like that she had canceled a couple of shows because she wasn't feeling good or something. And then she kind of had responded and said, she was dealing with some health issues that she suffered while taking care of her husband last year who passed away. And so, it was real sad to hear. I mean, I just turned 31, but, 90s baby, but like, bro, I think everybody knew who she was. I think like everybody knew who she was. So yeah, very sad indeed. Rest in peace to her for sure. Say you went to Dolly World years ago. Hey, I bet that shit was lit too, huh? We ain't gonna talk about it. I bet it was lit. Lit. I bet it was lit. Jay will already know. Yeah, man. Oh, also, I don't know if y'all been seeing the news about Adrian Broner, Dean the Great. Man, these guys I think they're continuing their lock-in-a-thon from 45 days to 90 days. So, I don't really know how good that is, considering the fact that Adrian Broner has a huge problem with alcohol. Every stream, every kind of clip that I see of them partying, he's slamming down a cup of alcohol, and it's very uncomfortable to watch. I'm a very big fan of Adrian Broner. but seeing him destroy himself like this is heartbreaking, man. It's really sad. And actually, I was watching. From time to time I'll catch the stream, but it's not. I don't really like to watch it because I feel like I'm watching Adrian Broner's last. I don't really like to watch it. I feel like I'm endorsing bad behavior because AB needs to be in rehab. He don't need to be in that environment. Maybe somebody else, that maybe got a little bit more control over their vices. But man, I'm seeing AB killing himself, man. I mean, I'm sure we all saw the clip where Dean was talking to the doctor saying that AB has pancreatitis. And if he don't stop drinking, he gonna be in trouble in 3 years. It's so sad because I think that Adrian Broner could have a lot more respect. People can respect him a lot more. It's like an alley-oop. It's like, look at everything that happened within this past year for Adrian Broner. Him going from begging people to buy him a drink at the bar in the casino to hooking up with Dean. Now, AB has his own stream and he has his own kick and he's able to make his own money. So you had a high point where everyone was saying, Dean needs AB. Dean needs AB. And fast forward a few months later, and the comments are filled with people concerned about AB. The comments have literally done a 180 where they were all once saying AB's the man and this and that. The comment section is now disgusted with AB's drinking. There have been people in the comments that are saying, Adrian Broner has made me stop drinking. I mean, not a cup of water in sight, ladies and gentlemen. I haven't seen, I'll be watching this shit. I'll be like, where's the water? Just alcohol. Like, I'm talking about cups full to the brim. I don't understand how he does it, but he's running from something, ladies and gentlemen. When somebody drinks that much, when somebody is drinking that much, he's running from something. I am praying for AB. I hope that he gets help. J Wood 38 says, I don't know what to say about AB. I'd rather him act a fool around people than by himself. At least he makes money. But yeah, you're right. He needs rehab, but he has to want to change. Exactly, bro. 100%. You agree with me, I agree with you, bro. You know what I'm saying? You agree with me, I agree with you, bro. You feel me? He has to want to change. AB can have so much. He could be in such a better place than he is right now. Again, think to where he was. Now he's doing the streaming. This was supposed to be a lock-in-a-thon for him to get healthy. Imagine if Adrian Broner had stuck to this plan of just getting and locking in for 45 days. He might have needed longer to get in shape. That's cool. But the world of boxing would have respected him. Regardless of the comments, right? Let's put everything to the side when it comes to Claressa Shields. How many champions did you see and legends did you see at her fight? You had Floyd. You had Bud. You had Shakur. This is just recent. Ray J fought in that whole undercard It was a part of a different promotional company, but it was in the same night. They were all there seeing that. It would have been a good thing to see Adrian Broner reunite. Not only reunite, but be amongst the champions. We all go through stuff, right? We all go through past, and we all have a lot of, we all have things that we deal with, right? We all have addictions and vices. That's cool. But this whole stream, this whole like Dean the Great AB stream, Lock-In-A-Thon, this was an alley-oop. This was supposed to be an alley for Adrian to get money back in his pocket, for him to get his mind, his body back in shape. I would have loved, as a real fan of Adrian Broner, ladies and gentlemen, I would have loved to see bro standing on all 10, standing next to Bud, Shakur, Floyd, the greats, getting respect. Because see, the thing that's different about AB versus all them guys is AB really been out in the streets. We can clown, we can talk shit, we do a lot of shit, but there was a time where AB wasn't making money from boxing. And he went back to what he knew. The things that he tried to stay away from in boxing. Those other guys don't have that. So let's say AB clean his act up. He go through a down period of time. That's cool. But then he come out of that. He clean his act up. He get back into the sport. That's respect. A motherfucker can't do nothing but respect that. But when you look at him, this man is getting drunk. He wasting his life away. And nobody's respecting him. People are not respecting Adrian Broner like he should. There was a clip that I saw where the 45-day Lock-In-A-Thon had ended. Adrian Broner, shout out to my boy Robert Easter, one of my favorite boxers from the PBC era. You got AB, Bunny, you got a couple of people still in the warehouse. But it's very quiet. There are no girls, there are no music. And it was a very sad and depressing moment to see Adrian Broner still almost like try to keep the party going when there's nobody there. And I realized at that moment, like, he's addicted not only to alcohol, but he's addicted to the party life. I don't want to make this a whole thing about AB. I'm just running down topics, but it's sad to see where my boy is. And I mean, now, I guess the only good thing that I could say is he seems a little bit happier on the newer streams because Dean has come back to the warehouse. They ended the 45-day Lock-In-A-Thon. I think it was about a day or two that they spent apart. A few days after that, Dean comes back to the warehouse. And I believe they have now extended it to 90 days. So, the one thing I will say, it seems like AB is a little happier now. Because I didn't really like seeing him when everybody left that warehouse and he was sitting there by himself. I didn't like that shit. I didn't like seeing him because he was real, like, he doesn't know it, but AB wears his emotions on his damn sleeve. Like, he be talking to the chat, he be talking to the camera, and you can see it in his face. You can see a lot of his emotions in his face. If y'all watch that shit, you can kind of see a lot of like what just the demons that he got going on the inside, you know what I'm saying? So realistically, I say prayers to him. And I hope he can get it together, you know? J Will 38 says, Radio, did you see who Fandora is fighting next. I did see that, and I don't know who the hell that is. I'm gonna be honest, J Will 38. I did see that. I saw that this morning. I don't know what or when the actual date is, the schedule. I don't know if they have a proposed date yet, but I did see that this morning though. Yep, October 17th. Sebastian Fundora will defend his 154-pound title versus Umar Hadjabej. I hope I said that right, but I don't think I did. Yeah, October 17th. Yep. I'm going to be honest, I have not heard of Umar before. Looks to be a pro box fighter. Looks to be a pro box fighter, J Will, and I like pro box. I'm not saying anything bad about pro box, but what I'm saying is Umar doesn't have any highlights. When I type Umar Hadjabej in, the quality of the highlights are of a fighter who's not yet made it to the mainstream yet, if that makes sense. And so I think that should say a lot about the level of opponent that Fundora is going to be fighting next. I'm not really going to be too critical about that because I believe this is a title defense. So this might be something that is mandatory, is mandated by the WBC. This might not be a situation in which Fundora picked this fight. However, I will mention this though. I will say this: the way that Sebastian Fundora has been moving, J Will, has been a little funny to me. And I'll kind of say, just kind of like the people that he's been requesting to fight, you know, they haven't been the Jerron Boots Ennises. They haven't been the guys that we are kind of thinking that he should go after next. You know, the Josh Kellys, even, you know, it's been seeming like Fundora was talking about some older opponents. I'm not really sure, but I haven't been too much of a fan of how Fundora's been moving recently. So I think that this move right here, while we might not know too much about Umar, I think that we really don't know how good Fundora is either. The one thing that we've seen from Umar is that he is a tall opponent. I don't know exactly how tall he is, but he looks to be a pretty tall opponent and a pretty strong opponent. And so I think that this is going to be a good test for Fundora, because if he's not really who people say he is, this guy is going to give him problems. Just doing a quick eye test and looking kind of down the highlights that he does have, they're not too many, but the highlights that I do see, he looks like he's kind of tall. He looks like he likes fighting in the pocket. He looks great with uppercuts, and he looks like he has fast hands. And again, I don't know if I said he looks very strong, but he looks like a very strong, good combination puncher. Whereas when you see Fundora, he's kind of lengthy. I wouldn't say he's goofy, but he's kind of lengthy. He kind of knows how to straighten up and be sharp. But there are moments where Fundora kind of, you know, is real lengthy and kind of just like a praying mantis kind of a thing. So I think these styles right here will be interesting to see. Now, if Fundora pulls out of this with some mysterious injury, I want everybody who's listening to this to know that I think that that would be mighty suspicious. As I said, you guys heard it from me first. I'm not saying that this guy is going to beat Fundora, but from what I'm seeing and what I'm looking at from the WBC, this is a test for Fundora. Might not seem like it, but this is a test for Fundora, fighting somebody a little bit closer to the age range. I'm not completely sure how old he is, but I know he's not grandpa age. You know, let's do some quick research, because I myself am curious. All right. Omar Hadjabej, 23 wins, 8 KOs, 0 losses, 1 draw. J Will 38 says, this year of boxing has been frustrating. I can't lie. It's been kind of frustrating, but I'm not complaining about it too much. And here's why. I'm glad that we're getting consistent fights. Shout outs to DAZN. You know, shout outs to these different players that we got. We got Zuffa. We got a lot of different things going on in the sport of boxing. And, you know, while I'm not getting the fights that I want to see, I'm not going to complain about the fights that we are getting. You know what I mean? A lot of these big names that we're looking for to fight, like a lot of these guys are smoke and mirrors. And it's unfortunate, but we look to the bigger names to bring us the smoke, when in reality, the guys that are coming up, the Abdullah Masons, the younger guys, or the guys that don't have household names, that are giving us fights every other weekend, those are the guys that are really putting the sport on their back and really bringing us the smoke. But we're just looking for a few names. We want a couple names, you know, and I feel it. I totally agree. But, you know, like, I don't really, like, a lot of these fighters that have these big names, I don't give them that stamp. Like, oh, these guys, big, bad guys. Like, nah, you got to prove it. Jaron Ennis proved that to me. He's proven that now. Like, with the way he's moving and doing things maybe 2 years ago, I might have had questions about Jaron Ennis. But the way he's moving now, he's taking the fights. He's taking the risks. He's going through adversity. To me, he's proven that. So I'm not really mad at certain fighters. And then, you know, certain other fighters, I just let them talk. It's all good. But exactly like what you said, though, J Will, this is like what you said right here. A lot of talking on social media, and fights are not being made. And that's facts. That's why, like, for me, like I said, I don't really look at these fighters like you got to prove it to me. You got the name, you got the skills, yeah. But there's also a certain level to me where you got to prove it. And again, like I just said, that's why I got people like Jaron Ennis, because for me, he's proven it. Like, I will put him up a step above the Shakurs, the Devin Haney's, these other guys for me. And until that day when he stops proving it, if he for some reason stops proving it, stops wanting to fight the best, stop making good moves, and stop, doing these unifications and things like that, then I'm gonna hold him to the same, you know what I'm saying, standard that like I hold everybody else to. You know what I mean? But you 100% right though, Jay. Well, like I agree. I agree with you. You always see the good in things, radio. I always see the negative. Nah, bro. 100% though, bro. I see what you're talking about because you're saying a lot of what a lot of fans, what the public, what the people that pay for fights. Like I can tell you are an actual fan of the sport. Like I can tell you are actual fan of the sport, and I've been knowing that shit for a minute. Like, I can tell you a fan of the sport. So your criticism is fair. You know what I'm saying? It's fair. It's fair. Like coming from an era of the early 2000s, and then coming from that, we got Bud, we got the last of the PBC. The Earls, the Keith Thurmans. You know what I'm saying? Tim Bradleys. These types of fighters. We're coming off of the last of the the Charlos and things like that to the new era. I get it. I think earlier in the live, I mentioned something about James Toney era and Shakur era. They just two different eras, man. But neither person is wrong, though. But let's look at this. Let's take a quick look at Sebastian Findora's opponent. Omar Hadjibej. I hope I'm saying that right once again. Super welterweight division. He has a 34% knockout ratio. Nicknamed the Albanian Sniper. Southpaw stance. 5'10", so he's not that tall. He is not that tall, but ladies and gentlemen, when you see him, as far as the way his body is built, he looks pretty strong. Kind of reminds me of a Brian Mendoza type of a fighter. Let's see. Sebastian Findora's last opponent. Let me see. Sebastian Findora's upcoming opponent. I'm sorry. Omar Hadjibej. Omar's last opponent was 19-0. May 2026. November 2025. His opponent was 28-5. May of 2025. Omar's opponent was 22-2. December 2024. Omar's opponent was 9-1. September 2024, Omar's opponent was 11-0. January 2024, Omar's opponent that he fought was 8-0. November 2026, Omar's opponent, Carlos Molina, was 38-13. July 2023, Omar's opponent was 12-1. November 2022, Omar's opponent was 11-0. So once again, this is kind of something. Let me see. He has an opponent. Let me see. Any suspect wins. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. His eighth fight, his eighth pro fight, he fought someone that was 12-44. Now that's a little suspect. But ever since his 11th fight, he has been fighting, I would say, pretty decent competition. Of course, these are not household names, but he's been fighting some pretty decent competition. So Fundora better be on his A game. And don't duck the smoke. He said that's what it is. Growing up watching 90s boxing, I got spoiled. Hey, look, Jay Wood, I'm gonna be honest though. I was looking at some HBO specials maybe about a week or two ago. Man, I'm telling you, the HBO specials back then, amazing. The intros, the different like speaking pieces and different things that they did, man, bro, listen, bro. I mean, the presentation and the way that they put the fights on, the packaging that they did with the fights back in the days versus like my time today, bro. Yeah, I missed a lot. You know what I'm saying? I be going down the time machine of a lot of shit when it comes to boxing. Like I'll go back and watch a lot of old fights just for the way that they presented it. You know what I mean? Like all the stuff before the gym. You had interviews with the fighters and their family and like all type of shit. It's like the way they put it together was amazing, man. J Wood 38 says, I wish boxing brought back tournaments. I agree. I would like that, to force the fighters to fight so we could see who is truly number one. I agree, 100%. He said it'll be a great way to clean up, some of the divisions. 100%. Excuse me. Yeah, I agree. Just as I was saying, I think, put all the people that claim to be the best, let's get them together, put them in a tournament, and let's really find out who is the best. I 100% agree. You know, we got to be okay with losing that O. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. Man. You guys hit that like and subscribe button if you are stopping by, man. If you're catching this live, man, hit that like and subscribe. I appreciate all y'all comments. I love interacting with the chat, so drop your comments, man, and please add your opinions to the show because it is all welcome. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate each and everybody for tuning in to the show, man. Shout out to all the new subscribers. Jeff Walters 86, shout outs to you, bro. I appreciate you for joining. Haven't seen you before in the live, so I appreciate you for joining today, bro. Just going over a couple of things, man. It's been a little busy week, I could say. A lot of things going on in the sport of boxing. We got the IBF welterweight champion Liam Paro, confident that he can come out on top against Teofimo Lopez in a unification bout. He says that Saturday put the cherry on top. Now, it seems like a lot of people have been looking at Liam Paro like food. I don't really know if Liam Paro is food, but it seems like a lot of people are looking at Liam Paro like food. Hey, it is yet to be seen. I haven't seen Liam Paro fight in a minute, or at least I can't remember the last time he fought. I don't remember what his performance looked like. But hey, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how he's going to look because it's, these negotiations that's been going on has been kind of cloudy. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I like the co-main. Oh, yes. Absolutely. I do too. I think that's going to be, Noakes. I think that's going to be a fucking barn burner. I'm looking forward to seeing that too. Absolutely. Nice little scrap. Yeah, I feel the same way, bro. Yeah, let's see if Nose is a real deal. Yeah, I was just thinking that. I'm like, this is gonna be a test. I feel like this is gonna be a test. This is like the test card. You know what I'm saying? It's the pop quiz card. Moses Atama. I'm pretty sure he's gonna pass the test, but there's some questions that people got. I don't think they're hard questions, but there's a couple of questions. So I mean, we're gonna see. We're gonna see, and I'm looking forward to this weekend. I really am. I think this is gonna be it. I think this weekend coming up is gonna be action-packed, ladies and gentlemen. So I don't think nobody wants to miss any of the fights, any of the updates this weekend. You want to make sure you are in position to catch the fights. Also, Richardson Hitchens and Brian Norman Jr., ladies and gentlemen. Got a little back and forth smoke between Richardson Hitchens and Brian Norman Jr. Hitchens said, "I will KO Brian Norman." Brian Norman Jr. says, "Let's run it, fuck nigga." Hitchens made a little video today kind of going off on Norman. I got to ride with hometown. I don't really like the disrespect. Hitchens is nice, though. He got a great jab. But I think a lot of people sleep on B. Norman. If y'all been noticing, Devin Haney does not want to give B. Norman that rematch. If you watch that fight, he didn't just wash B. Norman. Great win. And Devin Haney defied the odds and shut the critics up. But that was a little close, little scrap. We see how Haney doesn't want to give the rematch to Brian Norman. I think Richardson Hitchens, if he does take the fight, I'll give him all the credit. But for now, I think it's just talk. Not really going to take it too serious. Jay Will says, "I actually thought Crowder beat Paro in the last fight, but it was close. What I'm not happy about is Kambosos is in talks with Paro for a title shot in Australia. Kambosos at this point isn't deserving." I'm going to be honest, I agree. I was trying to figure out what the hell has George done other than get beat. Didn't he get beat the last time he fought? So I'm right with you, Jay Will. I think this is nothing other than a money grab. And I mean, obviously it's an opportunity for Paro, but I don't see it anything else. I mean, at this point, I think George Kambosos, he's another fighter that has just been extremely stagnant. I mean, his limitations have been the same limitations his whole career. So I'm not really expecting him to do too much of anything. And I'm really looking at this as just I think Liam Paro and Paro's team are, if anything, entertaining those talks simply for the opportunity. That'll be it. But I agree. I don't think Kambosos is deserving. He hasn't done anything. Jay Will says, "I'll take Hitchens and Keyshawn over Norman Jr." I would too. I'm gonna be honest, I would too. I wouldn't be mad though. I think Hitchens' kryptonite is a power puncher. And so until I see him fight somebody like Oscar Duarte, or somebody along those lines, I'm gonna always have questions for Hitchens. Richardson is one of my favorite fighters, but I'm keeping it a stack until he fights a power puncher, a hard, durable type power puncher. I can't really give him too much. I see Brian Norman Sr. on Mill City arguing with somebody from Keyshawn's team. Yeah, he was talking to Coach Dorsett that guy that Brian Norman Sr. was talking to, that's Keyshawn's like main coach, I believe. Or no, that's his strength and conditioning coach. I'm sorry. That's Keyshawn's strength and conditioning coach. But it also seems like that's like one of the main guys doing a lot of, frontlining and PR for Keyshawn too, though, So, I kind of wish we didn't get that drama. I kind of wish we didn't get that. But end of the day, I can't control what another man do. I think a lot of people have warned Coach Dorsett, as well as Brian Norman Sr., about going on Mill City. So if they continue to go on Mill City, and make a fool and argue, wise man once told me, when you see two people arguing, nobody sees who's wrong and who's right. They just see two fools arguing. So, if you continue to go on Mill City and, strike up the beef and drama, then, that's on you. I can't tell somebody what to do. Also, Alif Turhan will defend her IBF lightweight world title against Alicia Baumgardner on November 8th in Arlington, Texas. 10 3-minute rounds. Alicia Baumgardner is moving up to 135, ladies and gentlemen. Jay Will says, I'm getting ready to leave work. I'll have you in the car if you still cooking. Peace, my butter. Man, hope you had a good day at work, man. Shout outs to the third shift. Shout outs to the graveyard shift. Work, gotta get that bag. Salute, bro. We going, as a matter of fact, I don't even know. We might cut it short in a little bit. I do gotta get some rest. I gotta get up early in the morning. A lot of stuff going on. Busy day tomorrow. Man, a lot of stuff going on. Also, we have heard Vergil Ortiz Jr. targeting a middleweight bout with Jermell Charlo. Been out for a few years, but talks have been in session and a date has been proposed for November 14th in Texas, according to Mike Coppinger. Again, shout outs to Vergil Ortiz. I think he's a dog, but he's another fighter that's been moving weird to me. You got the Jerron Boots in his smoke. He had an issue with Oscar. Fights was on the table. Boots got in the ring. You got out the ring, started talking about Errol Spence. A lot of funny business going on with the Vergil and Oscar saga. Then all of a sudden you have a Jerron Boots Ennis versus Xander Zayas, electrifying third round. And everybody is kumbaya. Hey, look, I don't know. I have no real opinion. If Vergil Ortiz wants to come back and fight inactive fighters, that is his prerogative. But I think the boxing fans will not be fooled. We will not be fooled. And you better be careful, because while we don't know how much Jermell Charlo is left, you better be careful. That's all I'm going to say. Also, let's talk about the welterweight rankings. Excuse me. After Saturday night, Teofimo enters at number 5 after claiming the WBA title from Rolly Romero. The rankings are as follows. Devin Haney, number 1. Brian Norman Jr., number 2. Jack Catterall, number 3. Milianta Stanionis, number 4. Ryan Garcia, number 6. Teofimo, number 5. Rohan Polanco, number 7. Raul Correll, number 8. Alexis Rocha, number 9. Rolly Romero, number 10. Interesting that they have Rolly Romero still within the top 10. That is interesting to me. Nevertheless, ladies and gentlemen, if you think either one of these fighters should be lower or higher, let me know. We had Shakur Stevenson giving some remarks on Teofimo's recent win. Congratulating him, Shakur said Teo has some sort of ability to make other fighters not throw a lot of punches and move a lot more than their usual style. I seen it with Loma, Ortiz, Sandor Martin, and now Rolly. Nonetheless, Teo did what he could do with the style that was presented and got the job done. Yeah, I would agree with that. He got the job done, but there are some things that Teo needs to clean up if he is going to have success going forward. I've already touched on that. Again, you had Rolly a little bit of a disgruntled employee. He says, I never get a fair shake, and it's apparent. I clearly outboxed him. I cut him. I hurt him multiple times. It's clear as day I deserve a rematch. Honestly, that decision was self-explanatory. Hey, Rolly, hold your head up high, player. You didn't do enough. It's all good, man. Don't even trip. Don't even trip. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was really the show, man. You know, I really wanted to just kind of pop on, speak to the people. A lot of different things going on in the sport of boxing today. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for popping in, showing love, hitting a like and subscribe, man. Dropping your comments, adding to the show. I appreciate it. If you are catching this on the road, man, if you are on the road, please drive safe. We are at a wonderful 78 degrees here on the West Coast. 49 minutes after the midnight hour, we are looking at Thursday morning, ladies and gentlemen. People will be getting up, going to work soon. So will I. Ladies and gentlemen, appreciate you guys for tuning in to the show. Make sure you got the bell notifications turned on. If you are catching this on the replay, please hit that like and subscribe. We will be back later this week with a prediction, breaking down some of the up and coming fights that we have this weekend. Please stay tuned. Please stay locked. This is RBS, the Radio Boxing Show, the real one, not the flaw one. Shout outs to all of my peeps out there in the YouTube boxing streets. Appreciate y'all. With that, we are out.